Today I'm joined by Hayden Morgans. Hayden is the director and founder of SearchStack. And SearchStack is a purpose-driven creative digital agency that specializes in the recruitment space. So welcome, Hayden.
Hi, thank you for inviting me on and really happy to be here.
Great. No, that's our pleasure. Thank you for joining us. So Hayden, tell us a little bit more about SearchStack and what you do.
Yeah, so really, like you said previously, we do specialize in the recruitment industry, but a little bit B2B as well. And personally, for us, where the business has evolved now is we're producing a lot of content. It's my mission to kind of close the gap between sales and marketing and bring it together and create something like a revenue department within your business. And you can do that with really good marketing, websites, personal branding content, videography, and our biggest one is like podcast management that these clients of ours can use for winning new business and starting up business development initiatives and breaking into new markets and things like that. So really just like you mentioned, a purpose, content with a purpose behind it that drives insights and value to our target demographics.
Okay, thank you for that. And look, we'll delve down into that in a bit, but let's go back to the beginning, shall we? So tell us about how the origin story, how you came about setting up a business, why you set up a business, those type of things.
Yeah, so I think if we look really far back, I think always as a kid, I had always wanted to do a business. I think other people would say, "Oh, I want to be an astronaut or a firefighter." No, for me, it was always I wanted to be a business owner. And I think that showed a little bit when I was in school. It's the standard trope of obviously I was in school selling sweets and burning music onto CDs and selling the latest albums and all stuff like that. But it really where it really flourished into the actual business of Search Stack is during COVID. So it was mid-COVID. I think it might have been second lockdown, and I got put on furlough for the business that I was in, and the business owner said. You can do a bit of freelancing work if you want to, but we can't keep you employed at the moment. So that's kind of where it led from there. I kind of put out the feelers and started just getting these freelance gigs here and there, and I incorporated a search stack, and it just snowballed from there. Really, I think we did good work. We got referrals. I used to be quite heavily into the recruitment industry with a support network, and more and people just kept coming to me. And then when COVID was over, I found that I was basically doing two full-time jobs. So it was kind of like the writing was on the wall. It was like if I want to go for this, this is probably the perfect opportunity. So yeah, I took the plunge, left my old job, and yeah, it's just been sort of that's kind of history really, and that's how we started.
Excellent. And you mentioned there, Hayden, about you always wanted to be a business owner. Why? Why was that? Why? What was it in you that just thought, do you know what? I want to be a business owner.
I don't know. I think my inspiration would have been my uncle. He had a print business, and I just thought that was so cool. My mum used to go, so my mum was always like put that like graft sort of attitude in me. So I used to go with her to weekends and clean offices and do paper rounds and things like that. So we used to go to there, and I just thought it's so cool that he's got this office and he's got team working for him. And that was always something that's kind of stuck into my mind. Well, that would be an awesome thing for me to be when I was older. And I think it's just the whole point of I've always been a creative individual as well. So being able to share those skills in coding and graphic design and consultancy that I've built up over the years through various jobs has been quite an interesting one, and it gives me quite a bit of variety. And then I guess the last thing is just the freedom of it. I think that's been the most important thing for me. I think I could never go back now. It's the thought of working for someone, and it's always struggled with it. So having my own freedom, my own sort of autonomy to go forward and just find business or ride the waves of what business life is has always just been fun. Puts a fire in my belly.
Yeah, I think that's often a word that I hear from business owners that I speak to is freedom.
Yeah.
Whether it be financial freedom, time
Mm.
freedom. That freedom to do what you want to do when you want to do it.
Yeah.
And
It's a
I,
bit of a double-edged sword though, isn't it? I think really, I think especially in the first few years, you
that's
you do have a lot of autonomy and a lot of freedom, and it's all your choice. but you are doing a lot of hours, you are putting in a lot of graft and work. But it's fine because it's like you're building something, you're providing for your family, for the people that work with you, and you're seeing something culminate through your efforts and your team's efforts. And that's just an amazing feeling. So it's worth the work. But then you also do get the perks of the freedom where you can work when you want and you can take holiday whenever you want and things like that when you get the opportunity to do it, really.
So, so you mentioned an interesting, an interesting point there in that, yeah, look, setting up a business is tough and it takes a lot of hard work. Um, what what was it in you that actually sort of said, no, do you know what, these tough times, these challenging times, working hard, I'm going to do this. I want to do this. What got you through those times, or gets you through those times?
I think something that a consultant that I worked with before was just like you've always got to think about your family. And I think since I've had my two kids and I've built a little unit, that puts the fire in the belly.
Mm.
But then it's also just the challenge of trying to figure out some, the last couple of years have been tough for a lot of businesses and we're the same included. But it's how you meet those challenges. It's your mindset, I think, and it's easy to get like distracted and think about the bad things. But I think what I do really well is kind of just change my mindset and try and think about the future and where we can go and what avenues we can take. And it's a scary place being like where can we go? But it's also an exciting place. So I think I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah,
And I think look, the two things that I picked up from what you sort of said there is one, having that clear vision of the future,
sure. Yeah,
where you want to go. Okay, so on those tough days or times or challenging times, it's no, you know why you're doing it. Actually, that's a different thing that I was going to say, but you know what you're aiming for.
yeah.
The second thing is the why. Simon Sinek sort of says, what's your why? Your why that you mentioned there, or at least one of them, was your family.
Mm.
And that's really strong thing. So why? So two things that I picked up from what you said: the vision of where you're going, what you want to achieve, and the second thing is why you're actually doing it, which is then becomes really powerful.
Yeah, and I think those are the cornerstones of building a successful business, having a clear direction of where you want to get to written down, and you can just, visualize it in your brain
Yeah,
is a powerful thing and something potentially I didn't have for the first 2 years, and it's taken me time to learn how to think about your why and your vision and where you want to get your business to. But once you kind of get that understanding of what that really looks like, you can then just work backwards, and then it all just slots into place that I need to achieve these actions throughout the month or the weeks or the day to get to that vision. And then you've always got somewhere that you want to go instead of just kind of like rambling around and taking each day as it comes.
yeah. I can't remember exactly who it was now. It might have been Napoleon Hill, but they said everything in this world is created twice, once in your mind and once in reality.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a great. I love that sort of saying. But okay, let's. I'd like to go back to something that, if it's okay, that you said when you were introducing your business, which was closing the gap between sales and marketing.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that. Closing the gap between sales and marketing.
So I think this is a prevalent issue in a lot of B2B businesses. You have a marketing department and you have a sales department, and that's kind of like how a business goes. If you're a lucky business owner and you've got those two married up and working side by side in unison, then you are flying and you probably don't need to understand this. But a lot of the time, and I see it time and time again, there is a huge silo between these two different departments, whereas actually they've both got the same objective to bring revenue into the business or help reach the business objectives that are set out. So why are they not working in unison? The thing is, you've got a sales team that are communicating with customers day in, day out, or prospecting, and they're going to get so much information about like the challenges that those individuals are facing, where they want to get to, and just really strong market intelligence that I call it. And that sort of information that the sales team have need to be like working in tandem with marketing to say this is what we're seeing on a day-to-day basis, and then marketing can pick that up and then flex their muscles and actually use that information to produce really good content, really good messaging that and products that kind of hit those points and create like a service offering content, messaging that really resonates with the individuals, because both those married together then allows you to find more customers, land new business, and those sort of that sort of propel forward.
And I really like that thought process. And I love the way you've sort of defined that or said that, close that gap between sales and marketing. Because, I absolutely agree. My definition of marketing is, well, I wouldn't say it's mine, but from what I've learned, from what I've read, etc., is that it's the marketing team's role is primarily to get people to put their hand up and go, I'm interested in finding out more about what you
Yeah,
do, what you offer, the products, etc.
yeah,
And then the sales team is then to turn those leads and inquiries into purchasing customers.
yeah.
And as you say, if you get the two of those working together, it's much more efficient and effective, because if your marketing team are generating loads of leads,
Mm,
but it's not the type of leads that the salespeople need, or the business needs. It's the wrong target market or whatever it may be. And if so, that communication between the two, right?
mm,
Okay, this is the type of business we're looking to attract. This is where we'd like to try and get them in the sales process that will make the sales easier. You
mm.
know, to take them on that journey,
Yeah,
rather than it being very disjointed, as you say. So I like that. I like that phrase, and that's why I wanted to highlight that. Close
yeah,
the gap between sales and marketing. I think that's something that would be good for a number of businesses to focus on.
absolutely.
So look, you meant, we talked a little bit there about sort of, it can be difficult to start to run a business. What would you say is the biggest challenge that you've faced being a business owner?
My biggest challenge as a business owner, I would say, would be it's a really good question, that one. I think it's finding being sure in the decisions you're making to make the business go forward. I
Mhm.
think there are so many options available to you, and you can have a million different ideas. And for me, I am one of those people that are throwing ideas out constantly. So I think the challenge is actually sticking to an idea and driving it into reality. That's and the challenge of having an idea just sit on the table and you keep putting into it but you don't really deliver it. So I think the way that we've overcome that is actually just trying to be a little bit more scrappy with. So I think as a business it's really important to just constantly evolve and keep trying out new products and new directions of where you want to think, and repackaging things just to really hit home with your target audience. So I think for me the biggest challenge is I feel like that's important, but then a lot of the time I will just have a lot of ideas and they will just kind of sit in notepads. So I think it's getting yourself that idea out there and talking to your target customers that potentially might engage with that idea, getting their insight, getting their feedback, and just doing like little testers with these things, doing little campaigns here and there, that can kind of pique interest to see whether it's worth doing that or not. That's what I think. You're being a bit more scrappy with your stuff. So I think a lot of the time, a lot of business owners will have an idea and they'll start building on it and building on it, and it will become a huge 6 month, year-long project that maybe doesn't even go anywhere. Whereas actually, and then they launch it and it's not right. It's not right for the market because you actually haven't done sort of like your due diligence before and actually discussed with individuals that you think might be right for the thing and say, look, maybe I'm setting up a web page where I'm just saying like, pique your interest, submit your email, or maybe I'm just having a conversation and saying, is this something you're interested in? That's something really big that's been in the business at the moment, and I think that's something that I'm evolving in terms of delivering, and we're getting there. And I think we're helping other clients do the same thing, and it's good to just test the waters on everything.
So what have you, as a business owner, what have you done sort of specifically to help you make those decisions? Because you're absolutely right. One of the biggest things that business owners have to do is make decisions. What have you done in particular to help you be able to make those decisions?
I think the most important one, and it's probably going to be a short answer, but get out your own way. I think I'm a big perfectionist, and I think a lot of other business owners are as well. So actually, potentially having an idea and then handing it over to someone else in the team, or like I said, just getting rid of your sort of care about the idea or the challenge that you're working with, and just to talk to people and just get their insights from that.
Okay. No, great. Look, anything else? Anything else that springs to mind in that helps you to make decisions that might be useful to people listening to this?
Talking to other individuals that are like experts, so coaches, consultants, and one of the things that I think I've really sort of done well is building relationships with competitors,
Okay.
um, building relationships with individuals that might not be a customer at this moment, but just getting on with them and giving them free advice and tips and things like that. Just building like online networking on a constant basis, because when you do face a dilemma, you can turn to people and say, look, this is the issue that I'm having, this is the challenge that the business is going through at the moment. I've had to think about it. I've come up with these like three options that I think might be the right thing to do. What do you think? What do you think? And then asking, three or four people and just getting their input onto that. And that might just be a quick phone call. It might be just sending something over WhatsApp, but actually just getting to my insights from other individuals. And everyone's happy to help out, because when they've got an issue, they'll come to you and then you can give them your time. It's a quid pro quo quite kind of thing. So yeah, I would say that that's probably helped me through many a situation where I've not known where to turn or what direction to take, and I've come off a phone call with an individual that's helped give me kind of clarity and direction and a surety that the decision I'm making is the right one.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, surround yourself by great people, your
Yeah.
team, people outside the industry, whatever it may be, but
Mm.
people you can talk to about things. And this reminds me of a something I heard Stephen Bartlett say once. I think on one of his podcasts, or I read in his book, and he said he was having a conversation with one of the US presidents. I can't remember exactly which one it was now, whether it was Barack Obama or somebody like that. And he said to them, he said, look, you have to make some really big decisions. Um, you know, these are not these don't just affect America, which is big enough, but these can affect the world. How do you make those decisions? And the US president sort of said, firstly, I don't make that many decisions. He said, the team around me make the majority of decisions. I only make the really, really important ones.
Mm.
So everybody else makes the others. I make the really, really important ones. And what he said about the really, really important ones is he says he makes sure that he's at least 51% balanced towards an answer.
Mm.
If he's 51% balanced towards an answer, he makes that decision.
Mm.
Because he knows that he can't be right with everything. And if he waits to get to 100% before he makes a decision, he'll never make a decision. So he makes sure that he's at least 51% balanced towards an answer, and then he'll make the decision. And I just thought that was like really a really cool sort of way to describe how he makes decisions. And
I think to expand on that just a little bit, and something I've had an experience is the big thing for me is to learn to trust your gut. And I've had a few huge, absolutely gigantic decisions in the business before where it would affect the complete future of where it's going and who we're working with, kind of thing. And I just have to really take a moment. Some of them I've been really far down the line with what's going on. But if I get a sick feeling in my stomach, if I'm not sure about it, then you have to trust that gut feeling, because your intuition is super powerful. And at the end of the day, you do know best of what's right for your business and where you want to get to. So look at your vision, where you want to get to. Does that decision align with the vision? And does it feel right in yourself? Really reflecting internally. Well, I think is quite important.
that's you're right. Yeah, listen to your gut. Your intuition is really great. But the other point you made there as well, and highlight it, is actually if you've got a vision of where you want to get to, it's actually easier to make the decision, because your decision, you can say, is this decision I'm making taking me towards my vision, or is it taking me away from my vision? So again, it makes it slightly easier if you know where you want to get to. There were some other things that you mentioned actually that I picked up on when you were saying about decision making. One you said about research, speaking to your customers and asking them, okay, if you can get data, if you can do research, whether it's, if you're making a decision in your business, the financial numbers within your business, the your statistics within your business, data-driven decisions are more often right than the ones that are just made by, I'm going to do this, because that's gambling. If you can use data. The other thing
Mm.
that you said was test it, test your ideas. Brilliant. Like, yeah, don't necessarily go all in. Test them first.
Mm.
Um, and then the next thing from that springs to mind from what you said is measure. Okay, test them, measure the results. Okay, that will help me to make my decisions. So some really cool stuff that, thanks, Hayden, that you shared there. So let's move on from that. And what's your biggest learning since you've been in business, Hayden?
It's been so many. But like I said, I think this has been a very like communication heavy, and I think that is the crux to marketing and doing good is talking to people. But I think yeah, like I just mentioned, talk to people daily. I make sure that I'm connecting with new people on LinkedIn and having DM conversations with two to three people every single day. Network, constantly network, build relationships with people. Don't be afraid to connect, like I said before, with your competitors because you can actually probably create some really nice partnerships between them, and they're probably got a lot in common with you anyway and going through the same issues, same challenges that you can bond on. So I don't believe in competition at all. I think there's in any market there's enough for everyone. So I think yeah, just having a strong network of individuals is something that I've learned over the years. You can't do it all on your own, and you're going to struggle if you think you're above everyone else and you're the only one that's good at this job because you're not. Just be honest with yourself. There are other good individuals out there doing good work. So yeah, don't get too high on your horse and make sure that you're having good conversations with individuals and building connections because I think that's that especially in post COVID, everyone wants to rebuild those human connections that they missed out on over 2 years. So I think that's the way that business is going. And if you're not talking to people and you're keeping it very closed off, you're going to struggle.
Keeping, yeah, like that communication, absolutely. Communication in business, but in life in general, it's just
Mm,
so important. I often feel that, a lot of the troubles that we have in the world is because of lack of communication or lack of effective
mm,
communication. So I
mm.
think that's really great. And yeah, I think the other thing that you sort of that you mentioned there, how it sprung in my head was just having that being open-minded, that growth mindset.
Mm.
What can I learn from your competitors, from other people, the people around you? Which was the thing that sort of sprung out to me from what you were saying there. So look,
Yeah,
there's
that's the
I mean,
most important part for me is constant growth. And that's when we hire new people, that's the main attributing factor is like, do you have a desire to just be a better person, 1% better every single day? I talk to clients like, how can we 1% better what we're doing for you? It's always just that continual improvement, continual growth. I'm always picking up new skills. I think when I started the business, I spent an entire year waking up at 4 a.m. every morning and learning how to code. And then I made that part of my business being a developer. So yeah, just having that drive to constantly improve, constantly get better, because you're just going to stagnate otherwise. And that's one thing that you can control in business. You get a lot of stuff thrown at you that you can't really control and you have to ride the wave out. But the one thing you can control is how you adapt and you grow as a person. And the more you learn, the more you're on the forefront of everyone else. So yeah,
yeah, but great. Like there's a phrase that I picked up, which says, "Before you earn, you have to learn."
yeah,
I love that sort of
love that.
phrase. So
Yeah,
yeah. Um. So Hayden, there's one question that I always like to ask everybody that's kind enough to join us on this sort of this podcast, which is, what is the best advice that you would give to an 18-year-old you?
yeah, that's a great question. Um, I think it would be don't worry about what other people think of you. And I know that's super hard when you're that sort of age, you worry about everyone, but everyone's got their own issues and probably they're not really thinking of giving two hoots about you. Um, and enjoy life at that age. Just take in all the experiences you can and explore more. I think I did a lack of exploring. I spent too much time trying to grow and learn, which is good, but when you're 18, you've got your whole life ahead of you. So yeah, explore more. Don't worry about what other people think and just enjoy life.
Yeah, great advice, and I love that. Explore more, enjoy life. Yeah, that's fantastic. Don't worry about what other people think. Yeah, brilliant advice. I love that. So, well, look, Hayden, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today and
No, it's
sharing
been a
more
pleasure.
about your business and also your journey. So, thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Simon. It was a pleasure.